Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 thing right here called monetary Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RT News updates. So as of this Saturday morning, the government has shut down. That means a couple services here and there will not be up and running. And so as of now, we have a lot of people going back and forth, pointing the finger at each other as to whose fault it is, where in actuality, it's a matter of just too much debt and it not being an ideal way to come to agreement on how to increase spending or to allocate funds to where it's most appropriate for our nation. And so, as always, before I dive into those articles, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button for more RT News updates, as well as to be informed of our live talk this upcoming Monday with Kevin Massengill from Merrick Gleams Holdings. Definitely going to be a good conversation you guys don't want to miss. So I'm looking forward to you guys hopefully calling in and asking any questions that might be on your mind about our economy as well as our current government shutdown. And then also, if you are new to Rethinking the Dollar altogether, I want to encourage you to visit the Rethinking the Dollar University page, where I put together all my prior interviews dealing with matters such as government, dealing with monetary, dealing with finances, you name it. It's a great way to get a short, concise education. It's absolutely free. Doesn't require any student loans of that nature. So just click the link at the very bottom of this video here and you can get all the education you want for free. So let's dive into these articles briefly. So the very first article here is from Power Post. It says Congress returns to work as lawmakers press to keep shutdown short-lived. Next one here is from Vox.com, and it says Trump blames Democrats for government shutdown. Next one here is PolitiFact. It is everything you need to know about a government shutdown. And then the very next one here is from CNBC News. It says government shutdown, who is affected and what's next. And the very last one here is just a vibe and what's currently going on the social media realm as far as what a lot of people are saying. And so I think it's a good way to get an actual pulse of our nation as people post and tweet about what their thoughts are and people go back and forth, once again, pointing a finger. So as always, before, after we go over these, as always, I want to encourage you to take the time to thumb through some of these articles for yourself so you can get a better idea of what some of the actual details are. I just want to skim the surface, give you something to think about. And other than that, get your thoughts at the very end, as well as share my thoughts at the very end of this video. So let's dive into the very first one. So here we have from Power Post, Congress returns to work after lawmakers press to keep the shutdown short-lived. And give you an idea what's going on here. It says Congress prepared to return to work Saturday as negotiators press for a budget deal to keep a government shutdown that began at midnight short-lived. Agencies shut down for the first time in more than 4 years late Friday after senators rejected a temporary spending patch and a bipartisan efforts to find an alternative field short as midnight deadline came and went. Republican and Democrat leaders both said they would continue to talk, raising the possibility of a solution over the weekend. In this quote is saying here, Democrats in the United States Senate are holding government funding hostage. The people protecting this country will continue to work, but won't get a paycheck, Representative Virginia Fox. Next one says House Representative Whip Staney shot back from across the aisle. It is Trump confrontation and chaos that continues. That is why the government is shut down. And so we have Senator John McCain, who is home in Arizona battling brain cancer, blasted both parties early Saturday, saying the shutdown is a direct result of the breakdown of cooperation in Congress. Never been more truthful. That's what's currently happening right now in D.C. as everyone goes back and forth, pointing the finger at each other, blaming who, blaming him, blaming her, all that type of stuff, which actually does no good for getting things back to full service. Next one here, Trump blames Democrat for government shutdown. Says the president said Democrats are giving him a nice present on the one-year anniversary of his inauguration by shutting down the government. And let's quote, see what he's saying. The federal government officially shut down at 12:01. It says Republicans, Democrats remain in a standoff over a spending bill. President Donald Trump is attempting to place the blame on Democrats after lawmakers failed to get enough votes for a short-term bill to fund the government. Here we go. Problem is short-term bill to fund the government. It's no short-term bill that can fund and take care of all of our liabilities. In the light of yesterday's event, the president canceled a trip to his bar, Florida, where he had intended to have a party in celebration of the one-year marker. It says in a series of tweets on Saturday morning, Trump said Democrats are more concerned with illegal immigrants than the military and border security, and that they could have easily reached a deal with Republicans, but decided to play shutdown politics instead. Then he goes on to give a couple more quotes here from President Trump. So what does all this mean? Let's everything you need to know about a government shutdown. Let's skim through the top here. It says, what is a shutdown? Federal government shutdown occurs when a spending bill expires and Congress and the president find themselves in an impasse. It says, how common are shutdowns? There have been 18 shutdowns since 1976, according to Congressional Research Service. However, the impact of these shutdowns has changed significantly since 1980. It says, prior to 1980, many federal agencies continued to operate during funding gaps, assuming that money could be restored as soon as Congress didn't intend for them to close down. It says in the shutdown, who works and who doesn't. During the 2013 shutdown, as many as 850,000 workers were furloughed per day, and or about 40% of the federal workforce, not counting active duty military personnel and U.S. Postal Worker Services. It says roughly 6.6 million employee work days were lost in the 2013 shutdown, with furloughs affecting workers at a vast majority of agencies. So that's kind of what's happening with that one there. Hey there, just want to take a quick minute to interrupt this video to remind you to visit the rethinkingthedollar.com website, where you get a chance to see all of my postings as well as educational resources, and as well as visit the RTD store, where I have some free material for you as well as some t-shirts. And if you're interested in being more of a blessing to Rethinking the Dollar, I want to encourage you to visit the RTD donation page, where I have a couple links there for you to contribute to this alternative media of work. Other than that, let's get back to the show. Very last one here, it says government shutdown, who is affected and what's next. Then it goes through some of the same things, but in deeper detail with the agencies. It says internal revenue. A shutdown plan posted on Treasury Department's website shows that nearly 44% of IRS, 80,556 employees will be exempt from being furloughed during a shutdown. Next one, Human and Health and Human Services Department. Half of more than 80,000 employees will be sent home. Key programs will continue to function because their funding has ongoing authorization and doesn't depend on annual approval by Congress. The Justice Department. Many of nearly 115,000 Justice Department employees have national security and public safety responsibilities that allow them to keep working during a shutdown. State Department. Many State Department operations will continue in a shutdown. Passport and visa processing are largely self-funded by consumer fees. Defense Department. The U.S. military will continue to fight wars and conduct missions around the world, including Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. So no way in the world we're going to bring those Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. We've been there for 10 plus years and they're still going to stay there. So no government shutdown is going to bring them boys home. So U.S. intelligence agencies, the workforce at the 17 U.S. intelligence agencies will be pared down significantly, according to a person familiar with the contingency procedures. Homeland Security. A department spokesman said nearly 90% of Homeland Security employees are considered essential and will continue to perform their duties. So here's what's happening around the Twitter world. So we have top news says government shutdown harming intelligence efforts. So we got an article here. The next one here we have from Mark Levin, says CNE, Jim McCusa, how can a government shutdown be Democrats' fault? Then we have here the Hill, Trump trolls Trump places his figure at an ATM. This is some type of statue that's at an ATM machine. Donald Trump says our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots, says Senator Ken. So let's see what he had to say.
No one looks good. That our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots.
Country's been ran by idiots. Interesting. What they call his constituents idiots. And here we have one. Here says government shutdown is really about the Dems sticking it to the President Trump and the citizens who voted for him. Here we have a 50-second clip.
Make absolutely no mistake. The Republicans caved on every single thing the Democrats wanted in this budget bill that was relevant. Everything, which, by the way, Pete, really upsets me as a conservative. Yeah. I'm not ecstatic about the Republicans either. They caved on spending. They caved on CHIP. And all of a sudden, the Democrats at the last minute do a wrinkle in on DACA, which, by the way, Pete, there is no deadline for DACA. Mm-hmm. No deadline. The deadline's March.
So more people displeased with everything else. Let's see what he's talking about here.
Negotiate here in Washington. So tell me, if you were president, what would you do?
Well, very simply, you have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. He's got to get Mr. Boehner and everybody else in a room, and they have to make a deal. And you have to be nice and be angry and be wild and cajole and do all sorts of things, but you have to get a deal. And unfortunately, he's never been a deal maker. that wasn't.
So Donald Trump blaming back in 2013, blaming somebody for not breaking a deal during the last government shutdown.
Democrats. I'm going to be just brutally honest about this morning. There is no reason that our government is shut down except the Democrat Party, the Democrat leadership wants to create more trouble for President Trump. He has extended olive branch after olive branch to them, trying to make deals with Chuck Schumer, who is somebody you can't trust to make a deal with. And now the president is unfortunately recognizing that the Democrat Party will do nothing to move America forward.
All right, so enough of that. I figure that's enough. You kind of got the idea what's going on. So here we have on Fox News, which is more Republican-based, conservative-based media, they're blaming the Democrats. And then if you go to CNN and any other liberal-based media source, they're going to say it's going to be Trump. So as you see, we got everybody going like this, but nothing's getting done. So since our last government shutdown, only thing that's really happened, the national debt has increased. The Federal Reserve balance sheet has increased. Nations around the world are losing confidence in our ability to manage our spending bill. Like, we can't come to agreement on what's more important for our nation. So Republicans say they care about the immigrants more. Immigrants say they want to just cut the border and work on our safety. So it goes back and forth. But at the end of the day, nothing gets solved. And it's just unfortunate that these are the representatives of our nation. So you have every country around us looking at us, pointing fingers back and forth where nothing gets done. Well, in actuality, we have so many nations already making major decisions on how this next monetary shift is going to take place. Just because we are a lot of infighting, no solutions will be made that will be of significant importance just because we're in a debt-based economy. So we're going to always run into a problem with spending and debt just because that's all that we know how to do, it seems like these days. So just want to put together some news real quick, give you something to think about. I would love to hear your thoughts on how this government shutdown will pan out. Definitely there's going to be some type of spending bill passed, which is basically going to extend and increase our national debt, which is ultimately going to lead to an expansion of our monetary system and our money supply, which is ultimately going to depreciate the current currency in circulation now, and it's going to make our living more expensive. So that's all it's going to boil down to, as always. So be aware of that. That's why it's always important to think outside of the mainstream narrative. Think outside of the conventional ways of saving and storing your money, just because they're going to print more notes, and then people who are stuck with notes will be the ones that hurt the most. So make sure you diversify yourself and just get more in tune and get more educated on matters such as this. So this is all my opinion, of course, and I would love to hear your opinion. Thank you.